Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, this is Stacy reporting live over at the Skull Rock broadcast. I am joined by...
Hello, this is Megan. Welcome back to our Stranger Things podcast. We are back with another deep dive episode of Season 2, Chapter 4, Will the Wise.
Thank God you remembered the name. I almost said the Pollywog again.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this episode today because it was a really good one.
Yeah. A lot happened, definitely, which we're going to have to go into, but it proved to me that a lot of the stuff these characters figured out just in this episode alone, everybody would have died if they depended on me figuring out these puzzles and making these connections. But I hate a puzzle, so maybe you just got to get behind it, you know?
Yeah. I love puzzles, but I still don't think I would be able to figure all this out. But I think up until this point, it's been kind of like fun Halloween vibes, but then also like setting up the mystery of everything. And this episode kind of got into a little bit of action, which was cool. And there was a lot of really cool...
right off.
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool shots, I thought, in this episode, too.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about a few of them. So I did notice that it was Shawn Levy again directing this episode.
Somebody recently went, oh, look at that. That's weird. It's the guy who did Deadpool Wolverine with one of the Stranger Things people. And I'm like, do I have a bit of trivia for you? Like, it blew their minds. And I said, all the episodes are great, but you can almost see his signature style, especially with the shots in some of them.
Yeah.
And this was very Levy, coded, I would say.
Yeah, Levy, we're still not sure, but...
like, it kicks right off.
Yeah, like the end of the last episode immediately starts this episode. So there's no really break.
So what's happening in this opening?
We see kind of kids walking home from school and Joyce pulling up at the school because we left off where they're at the school, they're looking for Dart, but then Will finds Dart, but then he hears Dart and it sounds like the Upside Down, so he runs, and then he's kind of like in his upside down trance, and we had that whole sequence that we were comparing to season 4 with Eddie and the bats and everything. Yeah. Joyce has also realized that the shadow monster was like visible on the videotape when she watched it back. Yeah. So she's like, this isn't all in his head. This is actually real. So she's rushing to the school to try to find him because she's worried about this. So at this point, they're all looking for Will at the school. They're calling for him. And then Lucas comes in and says they found him on the field. And then this was another kind of similarity to season 4 because Will is in his trance and Joyce runs up to him and she's like, Will, wake up, Will. Like, and she's like right in his face.
Like this. Yeah.
I was like, oh no, Chrissy, wake up. Will, wake up. So
never forget.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like just interesting that season 4 had all of those callbacks to season 2, things that you might not have noticed. But
it's those even numbers.
Yeah, he does wake up.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but he kind of like pulls himself out of it, and that's the opening. That's the credits.
He was sucking up that upside down possessed dust like a Hoover vacuum. So woo! And people say that his eyes look different when he's possessed. That he actually has like green hazel eyes. But when he's possessed, I guess you can tell, and it's really noticeable. His eyes are a dark brown.
Okay.
I don't know if that was shown in this scene, but like I feel like if you have hazel eyes, you could get away with any color at that point. If your eyes look brown.
Is it like contacts or is it just...
It was contacts, and they said it's super like obvious in the lab scenes afterwards, and then when they're doing the Morse code later on, they go, it's like it shows when it's possessing him and when it's vacant. And I'm like, look at that.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I feel like Noah Schnapp also does a really good job in this whole episode and then the rest of the season as well, like playing this kind of like possessed role, like because he definitely changes his demeanor like already in this episode.
You can tell something's off, and like there's some emotional scenes where you're like, give this kid an award, like because you would think, people would take the over the top route. He did it just enough to almost like skate by that you're like, well, maybe Joyce isn't as worried because, Owens was like, he will have mood swings. So this Mr. Mindflayer kind of is a clever boy.
So then Joyce walks Will to the car and the kids are kind of talking. They're like realizing it's getting worse. They're like, he's had 2 episodes in 2 days. And they bring back wondering if it's true sight, like we talked about last week as well. And Max like asks kind of like what's going on, and they kind of brush
they're
her
ignoring her ass.
So poor Max. I feel very bad for Max throughout this whole episode too. You can tell she wants to be a part of their group and to be friends with them, and
she's concerned. Yeah. And just imagine, like, the audience, they know what's going on. She's kind of the only outsider that's like, why isn't anybody telling me anything?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's interesting, too, because that's kind of like in season 4 with Eddie. He's like the new one to the group, and they kind of have to like explain it all to him. That's Max in season 2. And then that's also Robin in season 3.
Yeah.
I think those are some of our favorite characters, are the ones that like come and they're new and they're seeing it from a different perspective.
Yeah, they're like, what just happened? I love that they're like, come on, catch up. Remember, Steve, come on, catch up. Like, there's aliens in different dimensions. Okay, but yeah, Max did a really great job. And I love that how concerned his friends are. Just the fact that Lucas is like 2 episodes in 2 days, it's getting worse,
Back at the Byers' house, Will and Joyce are talking. He's saying that he doesn't remember, but she kind of can tell that he's lying.
Yeah.
So she shows him what she kind of sketched based on the tape, and he gets really emotional.
The receipts are there.
Yeah, and he does say that that's what he saw again. And this was a super emotional scene, like you were saying, because he gets really upset and he's like, I tried to make it go away, but I couldn't. He felt it all over.
Yeah. And I like that instead of like almost like trying to like, pull it out of him, she's so just like the mom of the year, I swear to God, like just telling him that she's going to fix this no matter what, and just showing him that she's there for him because she can tell her boy is scared. After that, we do a really pretty shot. I'm that person that literally, I will see a sunset and I'm like, I need to take a picture of it. I
wrote that down too. I was like, this is such a pretty sunset.
We see 11 is walking back from her little adventure outside, and she hasn't had a good day. And I love the shot of Hopper waiting for her on the front porch. And at first,
smoking a cigarette.
Smoking a cigarette, the ember of his smoke. And I have to say, David and Millie acted their asses off.
Yeah.
This was a very intense, almost like uncomfortable scene. And, it was a long time coming because like they were just cooped up with each other, and she's getting older and frustrated, and he has his own reasons on wanting to protect her. And he tells her like right away, like, you enjoy a little field trip, and she's like, nobody saw me. And he's like, well, that mom did, and next thing you know, she starts losing it and she starts yelling at him, I never leave, you keep telling me soon. And he's telling her like, you can't even follow 3 simple rules. And they start screaming at each other as a parent and a kid would, that are just frustrated with each other. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. And of course, there's the iconic scene, you are like, Papa.
Yeah.
And I like that he goes, you think I'm like that, like deranged, crazy son of a bitch? One call and you can go back to the lab. And it crushes you to hear that, but he's right.
Yeah.
He saved her, and like they would, experiment her, and she'd never see the light of day again. So you see both sides of the argument, but it just keeps getting worse and worse. He calls her a brat, and the fact that when she really loses it is when the ego's like kind of stung.
Yeah.
The TV, which is her only outside window of the world.
Yeah.
And that's when she like loses it. And just him telling her to grow the hell up, and she's crying, she makes all the windows smash.
Yeah.
And again, he's reminded of how powerful she is. And this is just, if I'm doing my math right, a 12, 13-year-old girl. There's a reason why people would want her dead. And it's a heavy scene, but when all the glass shatters and stuff and she's crying, you're like, whew, we're not even like 10 minutes into this episode. Okay, it's going to be one of those.
Yeah, it was intense. Like we said, like a lot of action and kind of emotion is portrayed throughout the episode. So I clocked the thing about the TV too. Like he's trying to move the TV and she's like keeping it locked in place. Like she's so strong. But that was what really did her in, because we were talking about before how much TV she was watching, because literally she had nothing else to do when she was cooped up there. So him taking that away was kind of like what upset her the most.
And like some people could be like, she's overreacting. Like we said, that's her only outside window. And I'm sorry, if I lose power for 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my God.
Freaking out. Yeah. So we cut back to the Byers' house and Jonathan is getting home. So he's kind of walking through the house and it's dark. There's just like some lamps lit. But he finds Joyce and Will curled up asleep in, I think, Will's bed.
So cute.
Yeah, that's really sweet. But he also doesn't know like what happened because he never talks to them. He leaves the next morning without kind of checking in. But they zoom in on Will's face. This was like one of the creepiest scenes in the show. And I felt like it was very like horror movie coded. I don't know. But like with the movement behind his eyes, and then it's like zoom, zoom, zoom.
The quick flashes. Yeah.
And then it's like, again, it zooms in and then there's like a cut, like a really sharp cut to like toast popping up at the Wheeler's house, and it's like we're eating breakfast. So like that transition I thought was really cool. There was a couple of these like transitions that I noticed throughout the episode.
Yeah, I really liked that. If you listen to Mike, he says, like those grapes, Holly. And then later on, I love that she offers toast to Holly. Because I'm like, you don't really see them interact with their younger sibling, but I love that they're very sweet to her in this scene.
Yeah.
And I like that she says that she kind of brings up, she's going to go to Stacy's house.
I know.
Right away.
I was going to bring that up too. I was like, Stacy, you're in Stranger Things.
She spells it with an E, so she's not as cool. And it almost what sounds like Nancy's trying to think of every cliche sleepover thing. She's like, romantic comedies, nails,
gossip,
do a facial mask, gossip. And I love that Karen's like, sounds like fun. Like, Karen, you could use one of those. And clearly she's doing a little clever cover, because then we cut to the song. It's The Clash, which I never realized. Thank you, Shazam. It's her walking to It's Clash the Radio by The Clash. And she's walking to Jonathan's with her
car.
overnight bag.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like, oh, look at that. Which I guess he drives a Ford LTD in that. And I guess like it's known as a shitbox, which tracks. He didn't have much money. And I guess my mother owned 4 of them. And God rest her soul, she like wrecked every single one.
I think you told me that before. Yeah.
I get my driving habits from her. And that thing is a tank. But I love that fucking car has made a cameo in every season, including it just
dead on the street
in the driveway
in California. Yeah. It got out there, but
that's it. It made its final hurrah. Yeah. But yeah, so he goes, "Are you sure about this? Do you still want to do this?" And she's raring to go, man.
So we're not really sure what the plan is yet. We only know that they've called Barb's mom. We cut back to the Byers' house. Joyce is on the phone. This woman spends so much time on the freaking phone. I don't know. Like, I feel like there should be like a pop of like Joyce with like a phone in her hand.
Now that you've said it, it's gonna
every single
happen.
Season. Like, even in season 4, she literally like that's her job is like to be on the phone.
Just her putting the antenna down saying prick. I'm like, yeah, she's always on the phone.
But she's trying to call Hopper again. And Will comes out and she takes his temperature and she finds that it's super low. So this is where
like concerningly low.
This is where she decides she needs to like run him a bath and try to warm him up.
Wasn't it like 94 degrees? I'd be holding the mirror under his nose, being like, don't panic, but this is okay. This is why I'm not a school nurse, guys. Everyone's dying.
But then we go to Dustin, and Dustin is waking up
Oh,
and feeding sweet little Dart. This is the last time Dart is like sweet and
it's
friendly.
adorable. Which the shot of him like chewing the
Yeah,
nougat and
and
looking
looking up and
and he looks
smiling.
like, and he smiles down at him. I go, they almost kind of look the same, like they're smiling at each other. Like, I mean, that changes real quick, but so cute.
Yeah, exactly. But then when he gets to school, he's kind of confused because he doesn't realize, oh, they're still looking for Dart. But Lucas is in the dumpster. And later, like, Max is like, you still stink, by the way.
And he gets so mad. He's like, how convenient. You show up when I draw the short straw. And they're poking at the garbage with sticks. And I'm like, the 1980s, there wasn't a recess monitor. No one was out there
Nobody
caring.
was like, right. Can you imagine if I got to school and like the kids were just climbing in the dumpster? But okay, this is another one of those scenes that I was talking about. So it's a really cool transition because they're poking at the garbage and a cockroach like runs
Ugh.
away from the garbage. But as the cockroach is running away, we cut into the classroom and Mr. Clark is explaining about how all living things respond to danger. And he's talking about like heart racing, palm sweating. Like, I don't know if that's exactly what he said.
Mom spaghetti.
That's where my brain just went to. But
Yeah.
but then also as he's talking, we see Will like approaching the bathtub, and then this like, you know, the hairs on the back of his neck, and then we hear
That was a cool shot.
Mr. Clark talk about fear. Like, so it's this whole like little montage of like these three scenes cut together that I thought was really cool.
Very well edited, and like also it's a known fact that like rabid animals are scared of water.
Mm,
So he's looking at the water, and without even touching it, he doesn't want to go near
No.
it, you know. So, and there were like these quick little cuts of the tunnels, which, you know, we're like, what are
Yep,
those? You
yep.
know?
Exactly. Joyce is back on the phone trying to call Hopper again, and poor Flo is like fielding all of her calls. Which
Yeah.
I feel like Flo is an underrated character. We love Flo.
Love Flo.
But Will comes back and says that he doesn't want to get in, and we realize that he's drained the bathtub. And this is where it's the iconic line.
He likes it cold, which I would have been like, time out, what do you mean he?
Right.
And then I would have gotten a priest, a Ghostbuster, and a net, because are you talking in the third person?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah,
fuck? Like,
exactly.
that freaked
Like
me out.
Joyce's face, though, she did look creeped out. Like that
Yeah.
acting was really good too. Like I feel like
The difference
Yeah.
between Joyce and me, I would have been like, you're on your own, and I would have ran for my car. But she is a good mom, and she sticks through it. I do love the acting of Winona, like just so much expression in her eyes, because she realizes, oh shit, this isn't just a mood change. Something is really wrong.
yeah. And we're just going right along. This is a fast-paced episode too, I feel like.
It is.
So we're back at the cabin, and Hopper is boarding up the windows because the glass is all blown out from Elle. And he does
I still
seem
remember. Shit.
Yeah, he does seem like he wants to apologize for a minute. Like he's talking to her through the door, but then he's just like, clean up this mess and maybe I'll fix the TV.
Which I feel like he almost did that because, like, of course, you regret everything. And she's standing on the other side of the door, but it's almost like he knows he has to stay the bad guy, the parent for her.
Yeah.
And that's why he says the whole, like, well, maybe I'll fix the TV, you know? So, Hopper, you love her so much, but, like, you guys just weren't your best selves. We'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And when he gets up to his truck, the radio is going and Flo is calling and basically saying that Joyce has called 8 times already. Please deal with her.
She earned her paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I love the transition. I
You
know.
ready?
Get ready.
Are you
Like,
ready?
woo! I love that as soon as he cranks the engine, Push It to the Limit plays. And usually that song is associated with the movie Scarface. I associate it with this beautiful scene of another iconic Billy and Steve basketball match, which in what cruel world is Steve always shirts? Like,
Right.
not that I was complaining about Baker, but you keep getting shirts, baby doll.
I guess it was because Dacre worked out a lot for this role and Joe Keery didn't. I don't know.
I love that Joe Keery's like, he's the Red Ranger. He's ripped. And like, They even said that he will like even like tried to like lose a little bit of muscle to not look as chiseled. Meanwhile, I would be in the bleachers being like, okay.
Yeah.
And he's right back to his usual self, busting balls,
King
you know, he's
Steve,
just sweaty.
taunting Steve,
Oh my
calling him King Steve, pushing him around, like getting really physical with each other, which, whew,
And he does he like checks him and like, I don't know, Steve very dramatically falls. Like he looks like he's actually in pain. And I'm like, okay, Steve. And I love that it looks like for a minute after he dunks the ball, Billy, he's going to help him up.
he grabs
But
his
instead
hand.
he tells him, doesn't he say like you were moving your feet?
Yeah, he's like, plant your feet, draw a charge. Like he's giving him some like advice for his basketball game.
And it's advice that he ends up, and a few people like pointed this out, he follows when he's fighting a certain batch of creatures later on in this, you know, season, which I'm like, look at that. He listens. But he like almost like pushes him back down. There's an image that exists out there of that shot, and Joe Carey's thighs.
They're thighing.
They are thighing to the thighs come home. But I love that it cuts right to the showers. And again, the cinematography. Thank you, Sean Levy. And it's Tommy, Billy, and Steve. What's going on in this scene?
I mean, they're showering. They're getting clean.
Yeah, they are.
But Tommy is kind of taunting Steve, and he tells Steve that his girlfriend has already kind of run off with the freak, like talking about Jonathan.
The princess.
Yeah, the princess.
I love the look of annoyance on Dacre's face, though, when Tommy's like, but that must be a coincidence. And he's like, wow, this guy sucks. And he just looks so over it. Billy, like, just glances over, like, kind of like, knows he's an asshole. He's annoying,
like,
you know?
because Tommy is, like, playing just that, like, that annoying jerk, like, not the cool jerk, like, the annoying jerk.
The real annoying one.
And then basically Steve didn't know that they were skipping together, but now he does. And Billy says that Steve doesn't have anything to worry about because he's such a pretty boy.
Pretty boy like you. Which I'm like, if multiple characters are calling this character pretty, he's pretty.
Yeah.
And the iconic line, plenty of bitches in the sea.
I'll be sure to leave you some.
Leave you some, which I'm like, could you please sign that to me? Plenty of bitches in the sea. And I love that just as Steve has a full head of shampoo, Billy, just a ball buster, shuts the water off and walks away.
But Steve kind of like smacks the thing to turn the water back on. And again, that's the transition. And they're like, go to the park where there's this kid like on one of those annoying like horse things.
I'm not even kidding you. I like those loud, annoying things. I don't even know the name of them. Yeah.
This is Nancy and Jonathan. So they're at the park, Forest Hills Park, right?
Forest Hills Park, which I would like to believe every single person they looked at, including the kids playing Duck Duck Goose, were in on it.
From the lab. That Duck Duck Goose. This was so ominous, this whole scene. Like the whole mood of it, because at first they're just like, you know, sitting on the bench, surrounded by people like doing their morning routine, quote unquote, running, reading the paper, feeding the ducks, like, and then as they continue to look around, like you said, literally everyone seems to be like from the lab and like looking at them.
Like, my God, right away. And like, I feel like Duck Duck Goose, as a kid, I did not enjoy it. Tell me you're going to have anxiety without telling me you're going to have anxiety. I didn't like just the build up. So it's like the more build up, like you're just waiting for somebody to be called Goose. And I like that they start almost feeling like scared, like, okay, maybe it's time to go, you know? But what happens with Jonathan's car?
So Jonathan's car will not start. So they try to get out of there. But I mean, I don't think they're really trying to get out of there. They're kind of like doing what the plan was, basically.
They watch the car really just when it started because it's a shit box and that wasn't even part of the plan. They're like, this worked out, guys.
Yeah, exactly. But some guy comes to the window and is like really creepy, like, oh, your car won't start? Do you need a lift? So they've gotten caught by the lab people, basically. Then Hopper gets to the buyer's house and he finds the door open. The windows are all open. because it's chilly outside. So they're letting in the cool air, I guess. Joyce is like, leave it open. And then Will is trying to explain to Hopper what's going on.
But he can't seem to like spit it out, I guess.
And he even says, it's hard to explain. I know things now. I have these old memories in the back of my head, but they're not mine. And then they're not even really old memories. They're now memories.
They're now memories.
Yeah. So then again, we keep like getting those flashes of the tunnels. And he says it's like they're growing and spreading and killing.
There's a look that comes over his face when he says that,
Yeah.
like almost like he files that away, like that might be important.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'd be like, this kid's creepy.
Yeah.
But I like that Joyce knows enough. She looks up and sees like his drawings and goes, what if you didn't have to say it?
Right.
Like speak, which I've seen that done like, you know, with kids in counseling when they can't spit it out because sometimes it is that hard.
Yeah.
So they give him crayons and he goes to town right away.
It's cool because she looks up and sees specifically a drawing that he did of Will the Wise, which is the title of the episode.
Name drop. Which, are you ready for this? The phone is ringing and I was about to be like, who could be calling? Maybe it's the Upside Down. It cuts right to Mike. I went, okay, never mind.
They never seem to answer this fucking phone. Like,
I know. The machine will get it. They don't have a machine.
it was so funny because I feel like we talked about that too with, because did we ever figure out who was calling them when like Bob was there on the date?
I'd hope it was a telemarketer, but I would be thinking about that all night.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that wasn't important.
Yeah.
Tell me you and your podcast partner are anxious people. We're like, that really bothered
I know,
us.
it's like, who was on the phone?
The one time the Upside Downs call him.
So Mike is trying to call and nobody's answering at the Byers house, but he takes Lucas and Dustin to the AV room. He says, we have to talk. They leave Max out of it again, our poor girl. And Mike is telling them kind of what happened on Halloween and how Will didn't really want me to tell you guys, but he feels like it's important now, I guess, to share that information. And he says that he's going to go to Will's house after school, that they need to gather more information. And he tells them to keep looking for Dart. And Dustin's kind of like, well, what does Dart have to do with this? And then Mike says, well, he must be connected to the Upside Down in some way. Like he freaked Will out when he heard him. So
Dustin looks so guilty. And, you know, like, I'm sorry. I just keep thinking of Dart chewing, you know, the nougat looking adorable.
I know.
Would have hit his fucking ass too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. You know, like,
I mean, it does kind of bite him in the butt later.
It does.
So there was something that I noticed that I've never noticed in this scene before. I don't know if you've noticed there's an Apple logo, but it's like the rainbow Apple logo on the wall behind
Like the
Mike.
OG one.
Yeah. Like that was an interesting choice. So I'm just so curious how they're going to like resolve all of that in season 5 with like Will obviously being in love with Mike. So we'll see. I'm excited to see how I don't have any strong feelings about like either way. Like I know there's very strong like camps in like the fandom of like what's going to happen with like Mike and Elle or Mike and Will. But it's like, I'm just excited to see how they decide to kind of make it all work.
How they go about that.
And I just hope that nobody has to like die because that would be the worst. And I just don't want anybody to die in general, but
literally, like, no, let the Lost Boys theory, Megan's Lost Boys theory come true. Everybody comes back fine. You know?
Everybody's okay. All the half vampires are fine and dandy.
So I like that we cut back to the cabin. It's a complete like wreck.
Yeah.
It's not looking too good. And 11 is frustrated because the TV won't work and the wire was yanked out, so it's frayed. And I wouldn't even know how to begin to fix that. So she realizes TV, her morning soaps are gonna have to wait. She's got to clean up.
Stephen Carrington has to wait.
Great reference there. Adore you. I love that shot of her using her powers to make the heavy bookcase go up. I'm sorry, I'd pull a Matilda and I would use my powers to clean everything.
Yeah. What the hell, Elle? Like, you don't need to fucking
I need
sweep.
a laziest superhero ever. I'd be like, I would make like the nosebleed she probably would have had. I'd be like, where's the Windex? But she starts cleaning and she realizes that while she's sweeping, she moves the chair back and like the glass kind of trickles down into the crawl space.
And there's like
she opens it up with
loose floorboard. Yeah.
Yet again, like I probably would have missed that. I would be like, that's odd. She looks down with a flashlight. And I liked these little crumbs we get at Hopper's past life. A box that says New York, so I'd assume that's where he was the big detective. One that says dad, which I know he talks about his dad in a later episode, well, later season.
I didn't clock the dad one. Okay.
So, yeah, and then it goes New York, Vietnam, which speaks volumes, and then Hawkins Lab. What does she do with that?
She pulls that one out. Obviously, she's interested in that one. But we don't get to see yet because she just starts reading it and then they actually cut to the lab. And Jonathan and Nancy are being held in a room. And I love Nancy here.
Assholes. And I love that right then Owens comes in and I go, oh, they knew not to wait another second longer.
Exactly. But Owens comes in and I mean, I love Owens. Like, I think he's great. And I do think he's genuine. I hope that he's genuine. But he's apologizing for the lack of hospitality. He's like, we're scientists. I think it's a little bit more than that. But he assures them, the people who are responsible for Barb's death and what happened to Will are gone. And that he's there now and he's trying to make it better. And he decides to show them something. So he brings them into the room where the gate is located.
What's his line? Something about like a mistake, but we can't erase the mistake, but we can prevent it from spreading.
Correct. He says he's trying to stop the truth from spreading by whatever means necessary. And the guy, he calls him Teddy, is like going in to like burn. And he's like you said, we can't turn back time or take back our mistake, but we can help keep it from spreading. And he also like comes up with the whole, can you imagine if a foreign state, say the Soviets, were to see our mistake and try to replicate it?
Which I'm like, that's a little specific, but I understand Russians were the big bads.
Yeah, it was a little specific.
And, and right away I was like, well, that makes a certain cameo of his in season 3 make a little more sense with his oh fuck kind of look, which like there's this iconic line in X-Men Days of Future Past where somebody goes, could you imagine if these people were unhinged with these powers? And then if you remember in Firestarter, the doctor is like, this is how powerful she is now as a child. Imagine her getting older. So people, if like these monsters or 11 fell into the wrong hands, they could be weaponized. Yes. And of course, everyone was paranoid about the Russians. And, you know, thank God that, you know, the chances of that happening are so slim in Hawkins.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, nothing ever happened.
I'm looking at Megan with side eye right now, guys.
We go back to the Byers' house. Will is still drawing furiously, and Joyce realizes at first she's like, well, what is this? And then she realizes
there's scribbles.
Yeah, that they connect. Like she notices to connect with like the coloring, which
I feel like you would have picked up on that. I would have still been like, what? And she's like, I remember he goes, like, they start connecting them with that montage is actually really cool, which mine wouldn't have looked the same as theirs, I can tell you that. But they connect it, and then it's all over the floor. And at first he goes, well, the storm, maybe he's making lightning. And she's like, no, he uses red when he draws the storms. This is black and blue,
and some
like soil,
color.
like dirt.
Yeah. Yep.
Wink, wink.
And he says maybe it's roots because it's spreading like roots. And that's when Hopper realizes it's the vines. And he leaves.
Like, are you kidding me? I would have gone, it looks like spaghetti on the floor. And like, we all get eaten. But he knew. And I love that he didn't even take the time to like explain.
Peace out. Peace out.
Right out. Maybe I should have told somebody where you were going, Hopper. Just saying.
Exactly. Or like stayed in contact. The boys are always very obsessed with staying in contact with each other. He needs to like take note.
He needs those walkies with the damn battery, you know, batteries. Because remember, well, how many times have I told you about the damn batteries?
We are back at school and Lucas asks Max if he's seen Dustin. and she kind of storms away from him angry, and she doesn't understand why they're keeping things from her, and she's upset about it. They're kind of arguing as he pursues her, and she asks, did you keep things from Elle? And Lucas is like, how do you know about Elle? And
yeah, he's gagged.
this is the part where she walks away and she's like, you still stink, by the way. And he smells himself.
Perfect mic drop moment. But somebody was watching.
Yeah, somebody was watching that
And-
whole interaction, unfortunately.
And that was Mr. Billy. And right away, like at first, like how he is like, who was that kid? Was he bothering you? Like for a fraction of a second, you're like, oh, what is he being like the like macho overprotective stepbrother? But like it doesn't seem like they had that relationship.
No.
And safe to say, the tension in that Camaro is pretty thick. And, you know, she like is even like, what are you even talking about? Is like, there's certain people you stay away from, which you can interpret that scene any way you want with why he wants her to stay away, but he's being a dick about it. And I love that he goes, you're a piece of shit, Max, but we're family now. And instead of like, you know, being encouraging or like showing that he cares, you don't know his motive behind it. But when she goes, what would I do without you? He grabs her wrist.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Dacre looks fucking frightening
Yeah.
in it. Like, and those crazed eyes. I'm like, how could somebody so pretty look so crazy? And he tells her to stay away, like not to mess around. And Max, for the first time truly ever, really looks scared.
Yeah.
Like she's holding back from crying.
Yeah. Like she looks terrified of the potential of him to be that violent. We see Neil in this season, right?
When
She runs away. Yeah. So like I feel like she knows that Billy has the potential to get that violent, and she's pretty scared of his reaction and grabbing her
Yeah.
like that. This is another cool transition.
Total prison vibes.
Yeah. If you know, you know. So this is another transition because it's like
Well, I love that you
Billy's
loved this.
car like revving, and it like goes right into like Hopper's truck, like driving onto the
Yep.
farm.
So
I think
good.
this whole thing. So it was like the Hopper's truck is pulling up to the pumpkin farm, and I've been there, by the way. That sign, I have like a picture with it. But anyway, it's like the same farm as the cabin in real life.
That's so cool.
But then the music, and Hopper has the shovel over his shoulder and he's just walking. Like that was, I think, my favorite shot in the whole episode. It was so good.
It just looks so cool.
Yeah.
And then you see like the pumpkin patch with the gazillion flies. And I'm like,
yeah, it was
"Ugh."
disgusting. But that was, and then he
Hate
just
flies.
starts, does he start digging? I don't think he digs yet. He's just walking with the shovel.
It's basically stops in one spot, which I have to ask, and I know I'm jumping ahead. I've mentioned this once before. I could have sworn that the whole thing, and we will have to discuss this when we do our deep dives with season 3, Starcourt ends up on top of one of these farms.
I think so. Like, there's like the whole thing with the Hess farm, and that they start buying up like other farms around the lab because they want to sort of make more, I guess, more, they want to expand the facility sort of that they have under the mall. And also, it seems like the underground facility at the mall is more vast than just the mall itself, because they talk about how they've been
Yeah.
walking for like miles. I don't know if they're exaggerating, you know, but like it seems like the mall, the basement under the mall kind of expands further than just the footprint of the mall itself. So I think it definitely could spread out into these tunnels. I think you could be onto
'Cause
something.
I'm like, what an fortunate place to build. But, you know, we learned they did that for a
Yeah.
reason. But those farms, I feel, will continue to play important roles no matter what. Now, I literally wrote in my notes 12 reads. Stacey, don't you mean 11? Okay. So 11, not 12.
Like the number
11
1, 2, and
number 1, 2. I was like, Stacey, you were tired today. So 11, I almost said 12. Again, reads about Terry Ives and sees all these articles that, you know, she claims that, you know, the lab stole her baby, that her daughter Jane, and just her saying out loud her name that would have been given to her. And she's looking at these pictures, and then what kind of makes her stop is she sees a black and white photo of who?
Of Papa, Dr. Brenner, and Terry Ives standing there together. So she realizes that she can look for Terry now that she has a photo of her. And so she can't use the TV. So she goes and grabs like a radio, and she turns to the static, puts her blindfold on, and she searches in her mind for Terry Ives, and she does find her.
Dude, I'm not even kidding you. This was heavy.
Yeah. So we see Terry. She's in the rocking chair, and she's saying some of those things that she repeats over and over again, which we learn more about them later. She's saying 3 to the right, 4 to the left, 450, rainbow.
And like, we know what happened to Terry.
Yeah.
She doesn't. And I got chills when, remember they said like sometimes like people can sense her in there, and she opens her eyes and it's actually like in her mind, she can sense her daughter's there, and she says, Jane.
Yeah.
And you're like, what a touching moment. Tries to touch her hand, and she starts like, evaporating to smoke. This poor girl screaming, Mama. I like literally was like, oh my God, this poor child.
Because she's
like,
sobbing, and it's so good. Like the emotion is so real. It was definitely another very emotional scene.
Damn. Whew.
So Mike then gets to the buyer's house, and this was cool too. It was a very quick scene, but Joyce opens the door finally and doesn't really want to let Mike in. She comes out on the porch and is kind of just saying it's not a good time. I'll let him know that you stopped by. And Mike stops and he looks at her and he's like, this is about the shadow monster, isn't it? And Joyce just looks at him.
Which we go to, it is revealed in the car as they're walked out from the lab. Jonathan and Nancy are walked to their car, and I love the look they give each other before they like pull out. And as they're driving, she has a tape recorder that she got
Radio
from good old
Shack.
Radio Shack. Yep. I love that I was like, are they still open? You looked up, they're all closed. And she was recording like the clever girl she is, Owens, and it's basically him confessing everything. And Jonathan is still like, are you sure about this? And I love her badass line of, let's burn that lab down to the ground. You go,
and
girl.
I love how they drive past the leaving Hawkins, come again soon sign.
Yep.
Oh man. So we finally made it to this terrible, terrible scene. Worst scene in the whole show.
It's terrible.
So Claudia it's dinner time at the Henderson house for Muse, and Claudia is trying to feed Muse his food. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
And Dustin comes home. She's kind of like asking if he's okay and everything, and he goes into his room and he opens the tank, takes the cover off the tank to look for Dart, and realizes that he must have molted again. There's all that slimy stuff, and he's busted out of the tank, and he kind of follows the trail of blood and finds him in the act of eating the cat.
Which, as we all know, you don't hurt animals.
No.
And now Dart is not our friend, and Dart is the size of a baby Labrador, and he's
he
terrifying
turns
looking.
to look at Dustin, and what happens?
Do you know I forgot about this part? What happens, Megan?
His face opens up like a Demogorgon.
Because I always would miss that part, and I'd go, man, Dustin, like, he was really freaked out about the cat, like, in the next episode. Oh, no, same, dude. That's terrifying.
So then our very last scene is back at the farm, and Hopper is digging his hole, which I always come back to like that speech he gives in season 1 where he talks about being down in a hole, like, and then the whole like Alice in Wonderland thing.
And who goes through a hole? Yeah.
So
throwing him.
then he's digging, he's got this huge hole, and he gets down and he like hits something, and if you don't hear it right away but you have the subtitles on, you see squelching.
They love that subtitle.
Squelching. The squelching happens, and he keeps like busting through, and it's like these upside down vines, basically.
In my head, I was like, he's gonna fall through. I've seen this episode a million times, guys.
He
But
lowers himself
no,
down.
he lowers himself quite
into
safely.
the tunnels. And I love the scene here where like the camera turns and he's upside down.
Slowly on a rotating dolly to upside down,
And then the credits are very quiet here.
which is
There's just like
unsettling.
some sound effects. It is so unsettling. Like the whole vibe of this whole episode was like unsettling, ominous, like emotional. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a
Joe
really
Keery's
good one.
thighs. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on.
I mean, top tier episode,
Top
really.
tier.
Like, definitely season 2 appreciation all around.
It's really, I'm glad we're doing this because, you're picking up on things you'd missed before, but season 2 really is Stranger Things on steroids. Like you
Yeah.
start seeing how great of a scale it is. And this episode is kind of like the turning point from, like you said, fun Halloween shenanigans to, oh my God, like, ah. Hope you guys enjoyed
Yeah.
that sound I just made.
I think you should probably work on the sound effects team for season 5.
I think, could you guys imagine? Yep. You see a vine.
I don't even know how the caption or people would like subtitle that.
Awkward Stacy noise. That's it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, but that was super fun to talk about. That episode was great.
Mm.
We are definitely enjoying this. And we have some really fun interviews lined up.
Yeah, what's
so,
coming
and
up?
then
Anything cool?
I think there's some cool stuff, especially if you're interested in the Upside Down convention.
Wait, yep.
Because we have some people that we're going to talk to about the Upside Down convention. And then, I mean, we have 6 weeks. 6
Dude.
weeks from the day that you are listening to this. In 6 weeks, we will be in Atlanta. So
The excitement and the anxiety are hand in hand.
yes,
Like,
yes,
man,
exactly.
Like I was telling our friend Brandy, I said, I will get really psyched and excited once my plane lands in Georgia. And I know I got there in one piece, but I said,
Yeah.
just the fact that we've been talking and like looking forward to this since last year in the winter. I can't believe it's almost here.
I know, absolutely. It's crazy that I was just telling Stacey before we started recording. Halloween feels like it's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's September now, but by the time we get to Halloween, the convention will be over. Like,
That's insane. That is insane.
we got to talk filming updates. So,
What's going on?
Sean Levy,
Whatever you
we
want to
should
call him.
call him now, Sean
Yeah.
Levy. He posted some pictures. I'm pulling them up. Great photo of Finn and Maya.
Yes. Yep.
That was really cool. And I don't know who this guy was. Who's this? It's
That's
him, but like,
I think that's
what's the
Hopper.
back of him? Ooh,
think that's
I think
Hopper.
it is. I think you're right because he's got that beard
Look
going
at me,
on
guys.
and the beanie. Yeah, that's what we should do for Halloween. Wear a beanie and a fake beard. Be
You're
season
Hopper.
5.
I'm Enzo, and people are like, "What the fuck?" I can't. We're
And
like,
then-
we do our sexy takes on those costumes. Now, who is that?
This is
that-
Lucas for sure,
Oh, okay.
right? I think it might be in the hospital. I don't know.
I was gonna actually guess that. That looked like it. Yeah.
It's like a shadow, since you
Mhm.
guys obviously can't see what we're looking at right now. There was this really cool shot of like some upside down filming, which it's like the
That's
colors of
pretty.
our podcast, like the
Yeah.
blue and the purple.
Talk about a
Love
pretty
it.
sunset. That's a pretty shot.
I know. We're obsessed with that. And then there was the chair with the season 5 logo, which was really
Awesome.
cool. And I really haven't seen much else. I know there have been like more spoilery kind of things.
We
I
stay
think I
away
saw,
from that
like,
stuff.
A photo of like the lab with some upside down vines, which I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
was like a spoiler too, but like obviously there's going to be upside down vines everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
like, a
I
little
don't think that's
shocking.
really a
What's
spoiler.
the event that's coming up on Netflix?
Oh, Geek Tweak? Geek
Geek
Tweak?
Tweet?
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation of what could be maybe dropping or not dropping when that airs.
Yeah, because the promo for it did have a little bit of Stranger Things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually just 4 hours ago posted this of Dustin and Steve sitting in the car. And it said
The car with the sunroof, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Steve's car, the Beamer.
The Beamer.
That we're so close to Geek Tweak. So it's coming up on September 16th. So we've got 2 weeks from when we're recording.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe a teaser. What I was thinking is I would love a release date because we need to like figure out our schedule for the podcast because I kind of like we've talked about how we want to do all of the deep dives before season 5 comes out so that people can listen to it to kind of catch up before season 5.
They're going to be like January 2025. Yeah. And I'm like, well, we're fucked now. Yeah.
So guys, if we don't get all 4 seasons prior to season 5 coming out, we apologize. We're going to do our best.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be like churning out 3 episodes a week to try to try to make it happen.
We have to go faster. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking, I think we have season 2 planned out through like December, finishing up in December. And then we can do like some Christmas break episodes and talk about our favorite season 3 for our like Christmas time. That's going to be fun.
Which that isn't it crazy to think like over Christmas time and like, the beginning of the winter, it's going to be a year since we've been doing this.
Yeah. I mean, it's September, so 8 months. We're 8 months in. That's crazy. Yeah.
Man. It's like we've
had
a child. Really it's like we've had a child.
Yeah. Our podcast is 8 months old, guys.
So cute, Looks like
our little 8-month-old baby.
Yeah, looks like Dart eating the candy. It's just crazy to think like how far we've come because I remember like I was sticking my microphone in the side of my couch. I'm like, this will hold, and you're like, oh, Stacey, there's a preview of things to come. But yeah, it's crazy to think. And just like you said, by the time Halloween rolls around, we'll be back from Georgia with, I'm sure, very exciting tales.
And then after Halloween, it's like we've got less than 2 months till the end of the year. And then it's going to be, a whole year since the next 4 months, I feel like the last 4 months of the year, I feel like always fly by. Like once September hits, it's Christmas.
Pumpkin, turkey, Christmas tree. And then it's like,
yeah, exactly.
But another Stranger Things day, which we could be getting something on that day.
Absolutely. Yep. So we'll keep you informed. We will be here to celebrate all of it with you. And we will take you to Georgia along with us. So it'll be fun. It will be. Merch? What have you got for merch?
So merch, basically, me personally, I had a lovely weekend. Our friends Andy and Brandy came to visit to celebrate my birthday, guys. Thank you for all the nice wishes.
Hey.
36 years of just sexiness and amazingness.
Stop saying how old you are because I'm a year older than you and I don't want to advertise my age. No, I'm just kidding.
Which I literally love that after I posted like this sweet little post, I saw the gif of Eddie going 86 baby, and I go, God damn it, I should have said 36 baby. It took me all day to remember to post it, but I went, that's the kind of humor Stacey brings to the table. But it was nice because Brandy got me the Little People set of the Scoops Troop, which the back of that, so adorable. That's so weird, Dustin. We're just talking about you. So it was great getting that, as well as I had ordered it and she was cool enough to pick it up for me. It was the like upside down Eddie, which we all thought was going to be upside down. And our friend Jackie got it and she was like, he's not upside down. And I'm like, because I kept calling it Eddie doing a handstand. And I was like, I'm a little disappointed, but he's still adorable. So I'll take him.
Turn the box upside down. That's all you have to do.
That was super cool. And then I did swing by my local Bath and Body Works because I was like, you got any of those hand sanitizer holders? And they were like, we sold out the first day. And I'm like,
Wow.
Damn it. They said you can still get it on the website. The saleswoman was checking me out. I was glaring at her because she had one connected to her vest with a Demogorgon on it. And I wanted to be like, nice, cool. But I couldn't grab it and, like knock her out and run for the hills. They would know me. But no, I asked, I said, how are these selling? And they said, really good, actually. And I said, any plans for a third wave? As of right now, they haven't heard anything. But they did say that through Bath and Body Works, and here's a blast from the past, Polly Pocket. They are going to do.
I saw that. Yeah.
What is that? It looks like a radio. Is it an actual Polly Pocket?
I think it's an actual Polly Pocket. Like, I think it's going to open up and have like a little house inside. I don't know.
Those things were choking hazards, guys. The 90s were lawless times. They didn't care.
Yeah.
But it made me think of a great artist, the lovely Leviathan, who has made her own takes on Steve Harrington's house and A. Munson's trailer. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, this is, their take on it. So I think that's going to be the new upcoming thing. And I know the Squishmallows that, that line that dropped, they're going to be available for purchase in October, but you can pre-order right now. So stay tuned. But my biggest thing that I was like, one of my favorite artists, Obligated Art, they dropped probably hands down one of my all-time favorite pieces. And I know I say this every time.
It's so good, though. Yeah.
It's so good. It's of our boys, Steve Harrington and Eddie Munson. And they did a bloody version and then a cleaned up version. And I couldn't help myself. I was like, I need this for the gallery wall. And I ordered it already. It's been a while since I've gotten some art, and I cannot wait. And I made it actually my background at close-up of Steve's beautiful face because I was like, God bless America. That's all I have to say. This boy makes me just proud.
And speaking of new phone backgrounds, we did get some good content, some good Joe Keery content on your birthday.
Tell us about it.
He was at the U.S. Open. I think it was in New York, and with his parents, which was super cute. And watching a match that apparently was a really good match. I don't watch tennis, but he was really getting into it. And I loved how a couple people pointed out that it was the same energy that he's giving in the basketball when he's watching the basketball game in season 4.
I literally was like, I want to be excited about anything in my life, about how excited Joe Keery is watching tennis. So just retriever energy.
This is just Joe Keery's vibe when he's watching any sports game. So love his enthusiasm and excitement. But he had some good photos taken of him at the event. And I did make one of those my new phone background.
Yes. He strikes me someone at a sporting event that would start a wave.
Yeah.
He gives that energy.
Yeah. He's sweet. Can't wait to meet him in October. But also merch-wise, I had to take Leia to the vet. She needed her rabies vaccine. And then she was out of dog food. So we had to make a stop at PetSmart on the way home. And first of all, my mom was like, how did she like going into PetSmart? And I was like, I didn't take her in. It's because she gets really overwhelmed. So she had already been at the vet.
That's a big dog. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's really good in the car. So she just stayed in the car and I went into PetSmart. But then I realized that they had the Stranger Things dog toys. So I got her the shirt and she's so cute because when she got spayed, we put one of those bodysuit things on her instead of a cone so she couldn't lick her incision. And she just wore it and was so happy. And so now she really likes wearing clothes. She got so excited when I put this Stranger Things dog shirt thing on her. It was adorable. I love that dog. And so it's a black shirt with the Stranger Things logo. And I mean, she's only 42 pounds. I got the extra large and it fits her, but it wouldn't fit any dog bigger than her. So then they had a bunch of the toys. So I got her the Demogorgon chew toy. She's really sweet when she gets a new chew toy. She like carries it around and acts like it's her like
Aw,
child for a couple
that's a
days
baby for Dolly.
before she like starts tearing it completely apart. So it's still in good shape, but they
Mhm.
also had 11. They had Vecna. They had a trailer. They had the Eddie's trailer. I need to
Good.
go back and get that one because
That's
it's
the
really
one I
cool.
was looking for, and they didn't have it, so I picked up Max and I think Vecna. And I'm such a piece
Yeah.
of shit, guys. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is for Quinn. I haven't given it to him yet." And I'm like, "You need to
No,
earn
I would
this."
not. Yeah, I would not give. If I go back and get the Eddie's trailer with Dustin and Eddie, I'm not going to give them to her because they're too small for her too. Like, because they're
Oh yeah.
smaller, and it's one of those things where you can put them inside and then they have to like pull it out. Like it's kind of like a thing like that. Quinn would probably like it.
Oh, he would be amused for hours, which he's so
Yeah,
small, like none of the sweaters fit him. So I had to get him a Stranger Things bandana because I was like, this is the best we're gonna do. Which I'm like, I looked and I was like, well, they're cat toys. Like my dog's the equivalent of the cat. Like, okay. But I'm shocked that they had the Eddie one because I was asking them and they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. This is
yeah,
all we got.
because they had cat toys first, I think, and now they have the dog toys out. So
So
it's pretty cool. So that was fun. Leia was excited. Find us on social media at Skull Rock Broadcast, pretty much everywhere. We're most active on Instagram. I'm Steady Stories. Stacy is Stay Still Reviews. You can also find us on Patreon, where we post little bonus deleted clips when we get a little off track and silly. we
Happens a lot.
also we have to go live again soon because we haven't done a live in a while. So we always let our Patreon members know when we're going to go live so that they get that heads up.
Yep.
We have some bonus episodes that are going to be posted to Patreon. Hopefully you'll get one this week. And we have a couple more that we're recording coming up soon. And we still have our giveaway going on.
Yeah, we
So
do.
you've got 6 more weeks to enter our giveaway to win a signed item by Joe Keery. You'll get to pick either a Joe vinyl, a Steve Pop, or an art print to get signed. And then we're going to have 3 winners. And even if you don't win the prize package with the signed item from Joe Keery, you can win a bunch of other cool Steve Harrington, Joe Keery stuff that we'll send you.
Yeah.
So you can join our Patreon for starting at $5 a month and be entered into that giveaway. So yeah, that's about it, I think.
All right. Well, guys, over and out.
Over and out.
Eddie, I'm not sure I love the idea of you driving.
Oh, I'm starting to suck her. Harrington's got her. Don't you, big boy?
All right, we are back. We are back for our secret steady segment where we talk about fan fiction, mostly Steve Harrington, Eddie Munson, our boys. We love them so much. We know that fan fiction is not necessarily for everyone. So if you don't want to hear us talk about fan fiction, you can turn us off and we will talk to you next week. Well, next episode because we're taking a break. But yeah,
Later
next time.
days.
So if you do want to hear about what Stacy and I have been reading this week, just feel free to stay tuned. And I did keep my promise. So I'm going to let you go first, but I do have some other things other than Prism finally to talk about. So get ready. But you're still reading Prism, right?
Yeah, I'm a turd in the punch bowl. Sorry, guys, but we're getting there. Yeah, so
It's okay.
I wanted to savor it, you know,
Yeah.
like a Tootsie Rolly Pop, Tootsie Lollipop. Keep that in. Okay, so excuse me, Mr. Owl. Nobody probably got that. That's over the age of 30.
No, I got it.
Under the age of 30. I'm a mess right now. Okay, so I have one more chapter to go with Prism. It kind of left on a bit of a, oh, no. And right away I went to Megan. I was like, what the hell? Is this what I think it means? And I love that you were like, did you read the text? And I'm like, no. So, and that's definitely a big
Stacy.
to read the tags for. But I was like, oh shit. So there's a big sense of unease, but
Mhm.
I have been thoroughly enjoying this. This has been a roller coaster. I will definitely report back. But that's basically all I've been able to consume this weekend. I had guests over, so I didn't get a chance to read. I got to tell you, like, watching all the Billy scenes in this episode, I was like, it sounds about right. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But I cannot wait to go into it with you once I finish. And then we just get to wait for the next update.
Yeah, and I did get to the end, and they said that they will be coming back with a new chapter in October. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that that happens. I mean, again, like I usually say with like whips, works in progress that I start reading, I don't like to pressure authors. Like they are
Yeah.
giving this to us like from their hearts, from their souls, not expecting anything in return. So if they never write another chapter, I will be grateful that I had that experience, and it is definitely worth it.
Yes.
If we do get more, then I will be ecstatic and so excited to dive into it with you.
Mhm.
But yeah, so yes, the last chapter, there is some unease, but it is a really good chapter.
Oh, I
That's all
can't
I'm gonna
wait.
say. Yeah.
Ooh.
So good. So
Mm.
good. And I was not fully ready to kind of like let go. So a lot of what I've been reading the past week after I finished were
Mm.
by these two authors. So I downloaded a couple of the Honey Venom, their fics, because they're the co-author of Prism
Yep.
with Onion Driver. So I did read one. Whew, it is good.
Yeah.
It is a one-shot. Let me tell you the title. Make Your Body My Chalice by Honey Venom.
I just sat up straight, guys. Okay.
It's really good. It's Steve and Eddie go on a picnic, and yeah,
Yeah.
there's some interesting choice of vessels for the wine that they drink on this picnic.
If they drink out of their assholes, I am just growing wings and flying into the sky with delight.
Go read that fic then.
I'm on my way, guys.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I can tell, like, it's so cool to read their writing because you can kind of see the aspects that they're kind of bringing to the Prism story, because we've
Yes.
read a lot of Onion Chiver, so we kind of get that writing style, but like I
Yeah.
had never read any other Honey Venom fics, so it was cool to read their stuff, and
That's awesome.
I really liked it, and I'm definitely going to read more of their stuff. Then I was influenced to join Onion Chiver Azrael's Patreon.
Oh my God. Yes.
They write more stories just for Patreon. So stuff that is not posted on AO3.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading their ongoing story right now. It's called Scorpio Skies, and it is fantastic. There are 6 chapters out so far. I am halfway through chapter 4. I love it so much. I'm probably going to try to finish it tonight because, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I'm going to be able to like join in with waiting for the new chapters of that, which is going to be fun. And highly recommend, if you have not checked out their Patreon, they have a whole archive of like past Patreon stories that they've written that are not on AO3. So I am just like ready to kind of dive into all of their stuff. Like I still have a few things on AO3 that I haven't read of theirs. I have all of these new things in their archive on Patreon. So I'm in it and I'm super excited. And they also post like other cool stuff like soup recipes. So I'm
I
like
love
really
soup.
inspired to make some soup. I went out and bought a bunch of vegetables. So fingers
Soup
crossed I
season.
get some motivation this week.
Speedy soup season.
Steady, but
Boom.
yes.
Fuck.
Study soup season. Yeah, so join Azrael's Patreon, get these soup recipes.
Please keep me posted because I'm intrigued on both the fix and the soup.
Yeah, absolutely. You might have to join. Oh, and there's a deleted scene from Prism on
What?
the Patreon. Yep. And there's also a 12-page document that was basically the original like the original story that was written that became Prism.
Wow.
I have not read that yet. I did read the deleted scene. This was fun.
This was a blast.
We will talk to you next time and hopefully have some more great fics to share. It might all be onion chiver fics if I stay on my current trajectory, but it's
All for
spooky
that.
season. We're here
not?
for it. Yeah. I need to read little bits or whatever, yeah. So all right. Well, I think we're done. Over and out.
Over and out.